The vanilla buttercream on my grocery store birthday cake melts under the flickering fluorescent light of my apartment kitchen. $2,000 sits ready in my banking app, another monthly rent payment for my parents. The stark numbers mock me from my phone screen while I stare at my reflection in the scratched countertop. A soft chime breaks the silence. My throat tightens as I open the family group chat. The message from Mom floats between old conversations about utility bills and car payments. "No one's coming to your party, grow up." The words blur before snapping back into focus. I read them again, remembering the careful way I'd phrased the invitation. "Come celebrate if you can. No pressure. No gifts needed." My thumb hovers over the keyboard. The cursor blinks, waiting. I type a single word. Understood. The banking app glows as I switch screens. My finger traces the familiar path to the scheduled payment section. 4 years of temporary support flash through my mind. Dad's minor heart scare that launched 1,000 guilt trips, Lucas promising to find work any day now. Mom's voice growing colder with each request granted. The cancel button pulses red. My hand doesn't shake as I press it. Cancel scheduled payment of $2,000 to Walter Morgan. I tap confirm. The kitchen feels different suddenly, like the air has shifted. My shabby apartment with its peeling linoleum and temperamental AC unit represents every sacrifice I've made, every dream postponed, every boundary crossed. 4 years ago, I sat in the hospital waiting room while Dad recovered from what turned out to be indigestion, not a heart attack. Mom wrung her hands, whispered about mortgage payments and medical bills. Lucas paced, his university tuition notices crumpled in his pocket. "Just until things stabilize," Dad had said, his voice weak but his eyes sharp. "You're doing so well in your career, honey. We're so proud." That pride grew with each request. Cell phone bills, car insurance, property taxes. The universe of their needs expanded while my world shrank to fit inside my one-bedroom apartment. My recent promotion to IT support coordinator earned celebrations, not for the achievement, but for the salary bump. Mom's eyes lit up as she calculated the additional dollars. Dad patted my shoulder, already planning upgrades to his golf club membership. My laptop whirs to life as I pull up the Excel spreadsheet tracking 4 years of family support. The numbers march down the screen in neat rows: $2,000 monthly rent, $489 car payment for the SUV Lucas drives, $378 phone bill for 4 lines, countless emergency expenses. The total at the bottom stretches past $130,000. The practical birthday gifts I bought myself this morning sit in their Target bag on the counter. 3 pairs of black socks, shampoo, a new phone charger to replace the fraying one. The same items I've gifted myself every year while paying for Lucas's spring break trips and Mom's latest kitchen renovation. My phone buzzes again. The family chat is filled with new messages. "Lucas, should we get her a toilet brush too, Poi?" Dad, "Ha ha ha." Mom, "She loves those practical gifts." The laughter emojis pile up like stones. My face remains smooth as I open my laptop's file manager and create a new folder. I label it Records in capital letters that feel like a declaration of war. The methodical clicking of my mouse fills the silence as I begin canceling auto payments. Credit cards, utility accounts, car insurance. Each confirmation screen glows with possibility. The cake sits forgotten, frosting soft and melting. I cut a single precise slice and place it on a paper towel. No need to dirty a plate I'll have to wash. The first bite tastes like freedom. My phone lights up with the first panicked text from Mom, then another from Dad, 3 from Lucas in rapid succession. I turn the phone face down and take another bite of cake. Sometimes the most expensive gift you can give yourself is the word no. Tomorrow they'll discover what happens when their backup plan develops a backbone. Tomorrow there will be tears and threats and guilt-soaked voicemails. But tonight? Tonight I eat my cake in peaceful silence, planning my next move. After 4 years of saying yes, I've finally remembered how to use the word they fear most. No. In my darkened kitchen, I smile. It turns out 30 is the perfect age to grow up after all. 2 weeks later, the bank statements spread across my coffee table like fallen autumn leaves. Each page rustles with the weight of betrayal as I highlight another unauthorized withdrawal. $200 at the mall, $400 at a car dealership, $800 marked as emergency funds that coincided perfectly with Lucas's spring break trip to Florida. My brother's Instagram story from that week still burns in my mind. Tanned bodies on white sand, bottles of premium vodka glinting in the sun, the keys to my SUV dangling from his fingers as he posed with his friends. Living the good life, the caption read. The timestamp matched the emergency withdrawal to the hour. The financial advisor across from me adjusts his wire-rimmed glasses. Miss Morgan, these transactions show a clear pattern of exploitation. He taps the stack of highlighted statements. And this loan application, the signature doesn't match your other documents. My hands remain steady as I examine the paper. The forgery is almost perfect. They'd clearly practiced. The loop of the J curves exactly the way I wrote it in high school, before I simplified my signature in college. Only my mother would remember that detail. The application is dated the 24th of November. My voice sounds distant to my own ears. Thanksgiving Day. The memory surfaces like a bruise being pressed. Me, driving 6 hours through sleet to surprise them for the holiday. The trunk loaded with groceries I'd spent a week's worth of lunches budgeting for. My childhood bedroom door locked. Lucas's girlfriend's laughter floating through the wall while I made up the living room couch with sheets that smelled like mothballs. Dad's wine-soaked toast still echoes. To the breadwinner who can't keep a boyfriend but pays all the bills. The table's laughter. Mom's hand patting my knee under the tablecloth. He's just teasing, honey, you know how he gets. Now I know what they were celebrating. While I slept on that musty couch, they were counting on my signature on a $30,000 loan. My signature, forged with the precision of someone who'd been studying it for years. We should contact the authorities, the financial advisor says, his pen hovering over his legal pad. This constitutes fraud. My phone buzzes. A text from Lucas. Hey sis, need help with car insurance. Due tomorrow. Call me? I silence the phone and pull up the folder on my laptop labeled Records. Inside, subfolders branch like a family tree of financial abuse. Credit card statements, utility bills, screenshots of text messages. The latest edition, a recording from last week, Mom's voice rising in pitch as she berated me for questioning a suspicious charge. You ungrateful little, after everything we've done for you. Your father could have died from that heart problem. Is that what you wanted? A throat clearing pulls me back. The financial advisor watches me with careful eyes. Miss Morgan, should I contact the fraud department? The sun slants through my apartment windows, catching the dust motes swirling above my evidence pile. 4 years of documents. 4 years of temporary support that built a prison of guilt and obligation, brick by brick. My phone lights up again. A message from an unknown number, Lucas's girlfriend. Family loyalty goes both ways. Think about what you're doing. Family loyalty. Like making me sleep on the couch in my own childhood home. Like forging my signature while I bought their Thanksgiving turkey. I open my email and find the message from my boss, approving the emergency leave I requested. 1 week to untangle myself from their web of financial manipulation. 1 week to build a fortress of evidence before the confrontation I know is coming. The next text comes from Dad. Princess, your mother's crying. Call us, now. Princess. He only calls me that when he wants money. I turn to the financial advisor. No police. My voice comes out stronger than I expect. Not yet, but I need every document related to that forged loan, every email. Every piece of evidence that shows what they did. He nods, understanding sliding across his features. Documentation is often more powerful than prosecution, especially with family. Family. The word sits bitter on my tongue as I pull up the joint account statements. The one I opened for emergencies that somehow became their personal ATM. Each withdrawal marked with their casual disregard, gas station snacks, movie tickets, restaurant bills that could have covered my own groceries for a week. 2 days later, a knock at my door sends my heart racing. Through the peephole, I see Mom's floral blouse, her hands twisted together in that familiar pose of manufactured distress. The door's security chain gleams like a lifeline. I step back silently, my sock feet making no sound on the carpet. On my coffee table, The evidence of their betrayal guards me like a paper army. My phone buzzes again with Dad's message. Your mother's outside your door. Don't be childish. Let her in. Childish. Like their jokes about my Amazon wish list full of socks and shampoo. Like Lucas's cry-laughing emojis when Mom texted that no one was coming to my birthday. My laptop screen glows as I create a new folder. I label it Truth with steady fingers. The first file I save is the recording of Mom's last tirade. The second is the forged loan application. The third is a screenshot of Lucas's Florida photos next to the emergency withdrawal receipt. Behind me, Mom's knocking grows louder. Jenna, sweetheart, I know you're in there. We need to talk about these bill payments. I sit at my desk, hands poised over the keyboard. The truth stretches before me like a road leading away from their chaos. Each document I save lights another mile marker on my path to freedom. Jenna Morgan? My neighbor Susan's voice carries through the door. Should I call security? This woman says she's your mother, but she seems upset. I close my eyes, remembering last Thanksgiving, the locked bedroom door, the mothball couch, Dad's toast, the forged signature. Yes, I call back, my voice clear and carrying. Please call security. And can you witness a statement for me? I need to document this. Mom's protests fade as security arrives. I keep typing, adding another file to my truth folder. Tomorrow there will be tears and threats and guilt-soaked voicemails. Tomorrow they'll discover what happens when their backup plan develops boundaries. But today I build my case with keystroke after keystroke, document after document, the truth taking shape in ones and zeros, in highlighted bank statements and recorded conversations. My phone lights up one last time. Dad again. Family dinner. Tomorrow night, be there or else. I save the text message to my evidence folder. Then I open my calendar and create an event for tomorrow evening. The title reads, The Confrontation. Some dinners are worth documenting. Tomorrow, the leather strap of my laptop bag cuts into my shoulder as I stand at my parents' front door. Through the beveled glass, the dining room chandelier blazes like an interrogation lamp. For 4 years, that light has witnessed countless family dinners where I smiled and nodded while writing checks. Tonight, the light will witness something different. Mom opens the door with her Sunday smile, the one reserved for church potlucks and loan officers. Sweetheart, we were starting to worry. Her arms open for a hug I don't step into. Traffic. I adjust the folder under my arm, labeled Truth in block letters that match the steel in my spine. The house smells like pot roast and desperation. Mom bustles toward the kitchen, chattering about cooking my favorite meal. Pot roast hasn't been my favorite since I was 12, but she's never noticed. Lucas slouches at the dining room table, thumbs dancing across his phone screen, probably texting his friends about his personal ATM showing up for dinner. The car I pay for sits in the driveway behind mine, mud splattered across its hood from his weekend job hunting trips to the lake. Dad stands at the head of the table, master of ceremonies in his golf club polo. Princess, come give your old man a hug. I place my laptop bag on the table. The folder follows with a soft thud that makes Lucas flinch. Let's skip the performance tonight. My voice comes out steady, practiced from 100 rehearsals in my apartment mirror. I'm here to talk business. Mom's spoon clatters against the pot. Business? This is family dinner, honey. Let's eat first. No, the word slices through her nervous laughter. We talk now. Dad's charm curdles into something harder. Now listen here, young lady, we're having some family difficulties. Really? I unzip my laptop bag. Tell me more about these difficulties while I share some documentation. Documentation? Mom's laugh stretches thin. What an odd thing to bring to dinner. The HDMI cable snakes from my laptop to their television like a live wire. Lucas stares at his plate while Dad's knuckles whiten around his water glass. Mom flutters between the kitchen and dining room, a sparrow looking for escape. Before we continue, I say, clicking open the first file, I'd like to share some interesting reading material. The loan application fills the screen, my forged signature a cracked mirror of the real thing. Mom drops her serving spoon. There must be some mistake, Dad starts, but I hold up one finger. I'm not finished. Click. Instagram stories flood the screen. Lucas with his friends in my car, bottles of expensive whiskey on the hood. Best gift from my sister, reads the caption. The timestamp matches a week I worked 60 hours to cover an emergency transmission repair. Click. Text messages between my parents discuss maintenance fees and reasonable support expectations, like I'm an ATM they're planning to rob. Click. Bank statements highlight recreational spending sprees that coincide with their tearful calls about empty cupboards and overdue bills. Click. A voice recording plays mom's voice through the speakers. Pay your brother's tuition or you'll regret what happens to this family. Their faces transform as each piece of evidence lands. Dad's charm rots into rage. Mom's tears, always on command, look real for once. Lucas shrinks into his chair, phone forgotten. This is ridiculous, Dad sputters. You're taking everything out of context. The context is 4 years and $130,000. My finger hovers over the keyboard. Should I show the spreadsheet breakdown? You ungrateful little, Dad surges up, but I don't flinch. Careful, my voice could freeze hell. The next words out of your mouth might end up in a police report instead of just my records. Mom collapses into a chair. We're your family. How could you do this to us? Family? The laugh feels foreign in my throat. Family doesn't forge loan documents. Family doesn't mock birthday wishes. Family doesn't treat their daughter like an ATM. Lucas finds his voice, small and whining. Those Instagram posts were jokes. Everyone knew they were jokes. Funny. I pull up his private messages. Like this joke to your friends about your backup wallet? Or this one about working overtime being for suckers when you have a sister to milk? That's not what I meant. His eyes dart between our parents, searching for rescue. Of course it is. I close the laptop, but the jokes end tonight. Dad slams his hand on the table. Water glasses jump. You listen to me, young lady, after everything we've done for you. You mean everything I've done for you? I stand, shoulders straight. Let me outline the new reality. The money stops. All of it. The rent payments, car payments, phone bills, credit cards, I've already canceled everything. Mom wails. The sound bounces off family photos where my smile grows dimmer with each passing year. You can't, Lucas half rises. I need that car for interviews. Sell your whiskey collection. My gaze sweeps the table. I've documented every manipulation, every forged document, every threat. My lawyer has copies. Try to contact my workplace again, and they will go to the police. I withdraw a final document from the folder. The restraining order application sits untouched on the polished wood. This is a draft. Whether it becomes reality depends on you. My heart pounds victory drums against my ribs. Any future contact must begin with an acknowledgement of everything you've done. Until then, lose my number. You're making a mistake. Dad's voice drops to a growl. You'll regret this. No, I shoulder my laptop bag. I already regret not doing it sooner. Their voices tangle behind me as I walk to the door. Threats, tears, promises. They sound tinny and far away, like a radio losing signal. The night air tastes like freedom. Stars wink overhead as I slide into my car, hands steady on the wheel. In my rearview mirror, the dining room light spills across the lawn like a spotlight on an empty stage. The show is over. The truth has played its final scene. I drive away from the house that stopped being home the moment I learned to say no. Tomorrow they'll discover what happens when their backup plan develops a backbone. Tomorrow there will be tears and threats and guilt-soaked voicemails. But tonight? Tonight I drive toward a future where my worth isn't measured in dollar signs. Where my birthday cards won't come with price tags. Where the word family might someday mean something more than an invoice. The highway stretches ahead, dark and wide and full of possibility. I press the gas pedal and don't look back. At the present, the notification on my phone reads like a bomb threat. Lucas found my work email through LinkedIn. I forward his message to my growing evidence folder without opening it, my hands steady as stone. Radio silence shattered by a digital temper tantrum. My new number rings. Unknown caller, Austin area code. The voicemail notification pops up seconds later. I delete it unheard, adding the number to my block list. Fourth one this week. The certified letter sits in my printer tray, crisp and official on law firm letterhead. My attorney's precise language outlines the consequences of continued contact: workplace harassment, social media defamation, attempted financial fraud. The words carry the weight of restraining orders waiting to be filed. I sign my name, still Jenna for now, in black ink that bleeds slightly at the edges. The pen scratches against paper like a key cutting new grooves. My signature looks foreign, a relic of who I used to be. My one-bedroom apartment in Portland holds none of the ghosts I left behind in Texas. The walls gleam fresh white, bare except for my IT certifications and a single framed photo from college graduation. Before Dad's heart attack, that turned out to be indigestion. Before I became the family ATM. The moving truck delivered only what sparked joy or served function. My grandmother's quilt, my laptop, professional clothes for my new remote position. The rest I donated or sold, including the SUV I'd paid off for Lucas. Let him explain that disappearance to his fraternity brothers. The next day, the name change paperwork waits in a manila envelope marked Priority, Elizabeth Morgan. My middle name, my mother's maiden name, twisted into something new. An identity for the fire of necessary endings. My phone buzzes again. A text from my new therapist confirming tomorrow's appointment. We'll discuss establishing the trust fund my financial advisor recommended. An iron wall between my assets and any future claims of family obligation. The social media notifications stack up like funeral cards. My mother's tearful Facebook Live broadcast about her unstable daughter who abandoned them. Lucas's Instagram story about toxic family members who air dirty laundry. Dad's LinkedIn post seeking prayer warriors for their prodigal daughter. I document each attempt, screenshots filed with timestamps, then close the apps. Their words hold no power here in my quiet sanctuary. The weight on my shoulders lifts with each passing day. The support group meets Thursdays in a church basement that smells of coffee and hope. Carol, silver-haired and spine straight as steel, shares about the son who drained her retirement fund. Michael describes the sister who forged his signature on loan applications. Their stories echo mine like a chorus of survival. The hardest part isn't leaving. Carol tells me after the group, her weathered hands squeezing mine. It's believing you deserve to stay gone. Her words follow me home, settling into my bones like truth. I curl up on my secondhand couch, wrapped in Grandma's quilt, and sleep without dreaming for the first time in years. The website launches on a Tuesday. Still standing. Resources for survivors of family financial abuse. The domain alone feels like revolution. I build it piece by piece between work calls, creating the resource library I wished I'd had. Warning signs, documentation guides, legal templates. The first client consultation arrives through the contact form. A woman my age, voice shaking as she describes her parents' escalating demands. I listen, taking notes. My own story a roadmap through her pain. Start with evidence, I tell her. Screenshots, bank records, text messages. Build your case like a lawyer. The truth is your armor. The words flow from a well of hard-won wisdom. Each consultation adds another brick to the foundation of my new life. My pain transforms into purpose, sharp edges smoothed by service. December arrives with frost on my windows and peace in my heart. The holiday decorations in my apartment reject tradition. No red and green, no familiar ornaments weighted with memory. I choose silver and white, clean colors for a clean slate. The Christmas cards from my parents return unopened, marked, Resident Unknown. Their carefully crafted guilt trips dead end at my old address. I light a candle, open a bottle of wine, and celebrate the quiet. My therapist calls it grieving the living. The family I lost lives on without me, but the versions of them I loved exist only in memory. I saved a handful of photos, my 5th birthday, Dad teaching me to ride a bike, Mom braiding my hair before prom. The rest I burn in my fireplace, watching the flames consume years of forced smiles and hidden pain. The smoke carries away the last traces of Jenna Morgan, dutiful daughter and eternal ATM. From these ashes rises Elizabeth, a phoenix with steel wings and clear eyes. The price of peace was everything I thought I couldn't live without. It turns out I can live without quite a lot. My new friends gather for a winter solstice dinner, bringing dishes and warmth to my small space. None of them knew me as Jenna. None of them carry expectations heavier than friendship. We talk and laugh, the conversation flowing like wine, no one keeping score or tallying debts. After they leave, I stand at my window watching snow dust the city. My reflection overlaps with the falling flakes, a double exposure of past and present. The woman in the glass looks older, stronger, more herself than the girl who once wrote monthly checks to keep peace. A notification lights up my phone, another survivor reaching out through the website. Tomorrow I'll answer her call, share my roadmap, and help her find her way to freedom. Tonight I simply breathe, counting blessings that cost nothing but courage. Sometimes the most expensive gift you can give yourself is the strength to walk away. The price of peace is everything that once felt essential. The reward is learn how little you truly need. I raise my wine glass to my reflection, to the woman I'm becoming, to the power of no, Merry Christmas to me, I whisper. The words ring true in my quiet apartment, a prayer answered by my own hands. Outside, the snow continues to fall, covering all tracks, marking everything clean and new. The black envelope stood out among the junk mail in her P.O. box. Elizabeth recognized her mother's handwriting instantly, the precise loops, the slight right slant. Her chest tightened, muscles contracting around her lungs until each breath required conscious effort. The security camera above the post office counter captured her moment of stillness, fingers hovering over the envelope like it might burn. She slipped it into her bag without opening it, between her laptop and the leather-bound journal where she tracked her progress. The drive home stretched longer than usual, traffic lights holding her hostage at every intersection while the envelope radiated presence from the passenger seat. Her apartment welcomed her with the scent of fresh coffee and lemon cleaner. Elizabeth placed the envelope on her kitchen table, centered it precisely between the salt and pepper shakers. The afternoon sun caught its edges, casting a shadow that seemed too large for such a small thing. 24 hours. That's how long she let it sit there. Through a client consultation about financial boundaries, through her evening yoga routine, through breakfast and lunch the next day. The envelope waited, patient as her mother never was. "What are your thoughts about opening it?" Dr. Martinez asked during their session the next day, her calm presence steady through the video call. Elizabeth adjusted her laptop screen. "Part of me wants to know if there's any acknowledgement, any real understanding. And the other part? Knows better." Elizabeth touched the small scar on her palm from the time she'd tried to catch a falling glass at one of her family's dinner arguments. "I've learned to trust the part that knows better." Her closest friend Margot called that evening, voice warm through the speaker. "Whatever you decide, I've got your back. Want me to come over?" "No," Elizabeth traced the edge of the envelope with her fingertip. "This needs to be just me." She set up her phone to record, propped it against a stack of books. The red light blinked steady as she sliced the envelope open with the silver letter opener from her new desk set. Her mother's familiar perfume wafted up, gardenias and manipulation. The letter unfolded with crisp precision, 3 pages of Patricia Morgan's attempts at mastery. Elizabeth read each line aloud, her voice growing steadier with each paragraph of accusations disguised as concern. "We know you've been spreading stories about us. Your father barely sleeps, thinking about how you betrayed us. Lucas had to drop out because you abandoned him. The neighbors ask what happened to you. We made mistakes, but you aired everything, you ruined us. Maybe one day you'll grow up." Elizabeth set the pages down. The sun had shifted, afternoon light painting different shadows across her kitchen table. She touched the small silver pendant at her throat, the one she'd bought herself to replace the gilt-weighted jewelry her mother used to give her. The envelope sat empty, mouth open like her mother's endless demands. Elizabeth picked up her favorite pen, the heavy one that wrote smooth as water. On the cream-colored front panel, she wrote 3 words in her clearest handwriting. "I already did." Her phone kept recording as she slipped the letter back inside, sealed it with a piece of clear tape, and wrote her parents' address in the center. No return address needed. They'd know who it was from. She documented everything, photographed the envelope, scanned the letter, saved the recording, each piece of evidence filed away in her growing digital archive labeled Truth. The post office closed in 20 minutes. Elizabeth grabbed her keys, then stopped. She looked around her apartment, really looked. The vintage travel posters she'd always wanted to hang. The soft blanket draped over her reading chair, the bookshelf filled with texts on financial independence and healing from family trauma. Her window overlooked the park where she took her Sunday walks now, uninterrupted by frantic calls about her brother's latest crisis. The small balcony held 3 thriving plants she'd finally learned she could keep things alive when no one was constantly demanding her water. A text notification lit up her phone. A client she'd helped document her own family's financial abuse. 6 months free. Thank you for showing me the way out. Elizabeth smiled, remembering the frightened woman who'd first reached out through her still-standing website. They'd built the evidence folder together, page by careful page. The post office will be open tomorrow. Tonight, she had a video call with her support group. 10 other survivors learned to guard their peace like the treasure it was. She slipped the envelope into her desk drawer, between her business license and the trademark application for her consulting practice logo. Through the neighborhood grapevine, she heard fragments of her family's unraveling. Lucas had lost the car when the payments stopped, but still blamed the dealership. Her father's golf membership lapsed. Her mother's kitchen renovation stood half-finished, cabinets gaping. The house she'd helped pay for listed for sale, priced well below market value. Elizabeth felt the echo of their chaos like a distant storm, watched it through bulletproof glass. Her compassion remained, but it no longer bled her dry. The sun set beyond her window, painting the sky in colors she'd never noticed when she was too busy managing her family's disasters. Her phone buzzed with another client message. Should I send the evidence to my whole family? Elizabeth typed her response, the words flowing from hard-won wisdom. Document everything, save it all, but send it only if it serves your freedom. Some people never acknowledge the truth, even when it's written in their own words. She looked at the drawer holding her mother's letter. Such a small thing to represent the end of such a long chapter, but sometimes the shortest responses carried the most power. She already did. 3 words to answer a lifetime of demands. 3 words to close the door on guilt and games. 3 words that meant, I grew up, I saw clearly, I chose myself. The evening settled around her like a warm shawl. Tomorrow she'd mail the letter. Tomorrow she'd help another client document their path to freedom. Tomorrow she'd continue building her life, brick by steady brick. But tonight she sat in her quiet kitchen, wrapped in hard-won peace, finally grown enough to know that some questions don't deserve answers. Some letters are best returned to sender. Some silences speak louder than words. She was no longer the girl who jumped at every family text, no longer the woman who drained her accounts to fill their bottomless needs. She'd grown into someone stronger. Someone who could look at her mother's familiar handwriting and feel nothing but calm certainty. 3 words. Sometimes that's all it takes to close a door, to end a chapter, to declare yourself grown. I already did. Period. Full stop. The end. 3 years later, the laptop screen bathes my office in a gentle glow as I adjust my webcam. Sarah's face appears in the Zoom window, her fingers twisting a tissue until it shreds. Just like I used to do. They're saying I'm ungrateful, she whispers, that a good daughter would never. Her voice cracks. I lean forward, letting my counseling certification catch the light behind me, not for show, for proof that someone can rebuild from ashes. Sarah, when was the last time you felt truly safe around them? The question hangs between us. Her eyes widen, then fill with tears. It's the same realization I had 3 years ago in my old Austin apartment, staring at a birthday cake meant for one. I can't remember, she finally admits. I nod, reaching for my leather-bound notebook. Then let's start there. The morning unfolds in 45-minute increments. Between clients, I water the spider plant by my window, a gift from Marcus, who understands why I need to nurture something that thrives on minimal care. 6 months of dating, and he's never once questioned why I keep my finances separate or why I changed my name. At lunch, I reviewed the final draft of my guide. Documentation, the path to freedom. The publisher wanted something splashier, but flashy doesn't heal, truth does. My phone buzzes with a text from the community center. They've confirmed the space for next week's support group. 20 survivors gathered to share their stories. 20 people choose themselves. The afternoon client is new. Barbara's 72, her silver hair perfectly coiffed. She holds up a credit card statement with shaking hands. "My Tommy," she says. "My baby boy. He said it was just until his business took off." My chest tightens. I remember my own brother's promises, his laughter in the family group chat. "Barbara," I say softly, "would you like to know what financial abuse looks like?" She flinches at the word abuse. I did too once. By session's end, she's holding a folder labeled My Truth, the same system that freed me, refined by 3 years of helping others escape. The sun sets as I finish my case notes. Marcus texts about dinner. "Your choice tonight. No pressure." 3 words that still make me smile. I pack up, straightening the wall of thank you cards. Not for decoration for the newly free who need to see possibility, a mother who reclaimed her retirement. A grandfather who stopped bankrolling his grandson's addictions. A sister who learned that love shouldn't cost her future. My key card beeps me out of the building. The evening air carries the scent of blooming jasmine. 3 years ago, I couldn't smell anything through the panic. Now each breath fills my lungs with certainty. The community center lights glow warmly as I pull into the parking lot. Inside, chairs form a circle. Some already hold nervous bodies, clutching folders and phones with recorded proof of their pain. I set my bag down, clip on my name tag, Elizabeth Morgan Still Standing Support Group. "Welcome," I say, meeting each pair of eyes. "You're probably wondering if you're doing the right thing by being here." A younger woman nods, knuckles white around her purse strap. "Let me tell you about my 30th birthday," I begin. About a cake I bought myself and a message that finally made me see the truth. They lean in, not because I'm special, because they recognize their own story in mine. "Boundaries aren't walls," I tell them, watching hope spark in tired eyes. "They're foundations, and tonight, we're going to help you build yours." Later, I stand at my apartment window. The city sparkles below, each light a story I'll never know. My reflection shows a woman I barely recognize from 3 years ago. Her shoulders rest easy. Her smile comes without calculation. My phone chimes, a text from today's new client. I did it. I showed them the evidence and walked away. My fingers tap out the reply I wish someone had sent me. "The first day of your real life begins now." The words glow on my screen, a truth I had to learn alone, but others won't have to. Because sometimes walking away isn't cruel, it's courageous. You can love people and still say, "This ends with me." Behind me, my dining table holds place settings for 8. Tomorrow night, my chosen family comes for dinner. No bank statements disguised as placemats. No price tag on belonging. Just people who love me not for what I give, but for who I am. I touch the window glass, cool and solid like the boundaries I've built. My phone lights up again. Another message from a client turned survivor. "Thank you for showing me the way out." I smile, remembering the words I once returned to sender on my mother's envelope. I already did. Outside my window, the city keeps breathing. Inside, I'm finally home. I stand on my parents' porch, arms straining with carefully wrapped packages, the December air nipping at my cheeks. 2 hours of holiday traffic worth it for this moment. Seeing their faces when they open the art book Dad mentioned last spring. The cashmere scarf Mom admired when we window shopped in October. My heart quickens as the porch light flickers on. The door swings open. Mom appears, her figure blocking the entrance rather than welcoming me in. Something in her expression makes my smile falter. Cassidy. Her voice holds none of the warmth I expected. "This might not be the best year for you to join us." The shopping bag in my left hand slips an inch before I catch it. "What?" Behind her, Damon appears in the hallway, arms crossed. My brother's face hardens as our eyes meet. This isn't the place for people who only show up when it's convenient. My mouth opens, but words evaporate before I can form them. Through the doorway, I glimpse the dining room table already set with the good china, the Christmas tree twinkling in the corner decorations I've helped put up every year since I was tall enough to reach the branches. "I don't understand." I finally manage. "We spoke last week. You confirmed my arrival time." Mom's gaze drops to the welcome mat. "Things change, sweetheart. Just 2 months ago, Dad called about their property tax bill larger than expected. I paid it without hesitation, just as I've done countless times before. When the assessment came in too high, I spent 3 hours on the phone with the county office getting it corrected. Now they can't even invite me in from the cold. What did I do wrong? I ask, my voice steadier than I feel. Mom's shoulders lift in a delicate shrug. You've been distant, self-centered with your new life. Must be nice. Damon interjects, stepping closer to the door. Buying yourself a fancy condo while the rest of us struggle. The accusation lands like a slap. I think of the overtime projects I took on to help with his son's medical bills last spring. The vacation I canceled when Damon called about another emergency. My hands stop trembling as clarity washes over me. Okay. I say quietly. Just that. Nothing more. I turn, packages still in hand, and walk back to my car with measured steps. No stumbling, no rushing. They won't see me break. Behind me, I hear Mom's uncertain voice. Cassidy? I don't turn around. From the corner of my eye, I catch Dad's silhouette appearing behind them. He doesn't call out, doesn't step onto the porch, just watches from the safety of the doorway, eyes averted when I glance back. The gifts weigh heavier now as I place them carefully in my trunk. Each one selected with such hope. Even presents for my niece and nephew, wrapped in paper they chose last time they visited my condo. The stark contrast hits me as I close the trunk. My arms full of gifts for a family who couldn't even invite me inside. Their empty hands as they stood in the doorway, taking nothing but still wanting more. If I walk away now, I risk losing the only family I have. Years of holiday traditions, shared memories, the connection that's defined my life. But staying means accepting that my value to them is measured in dollar signs and favors, not love. As I slide behind the wheel, I catch a final glimpse of the three of them framed in the doorway. Mom's hand raised in what might be a wave or a plea to return. Dad's gaze fixed on some distant point beyond the driveway. Damon's stance victorious, shoulders relaxed now that the confrontation is over. I start the engine and pull away from the curb, the Christmas lights of my childhood home growing smaller in my rearview mirror. 5 minutes later, I pull over and sit in my car, engine running for warmth while Christmas lights blink cheerfully from neighboring houses. The gifts in my trunk mock me with their careful wrapping and thoughtful selection. My hands grip the steering wheel as memories flood back, no longer softened by the lens of family obligation. The spreadsheet I created last month for tax purposes stares back from my phone screen. Over $11,000 in mortgage payments for Damon and Maribel in the past year alone. Piano lessons for their daughter Sophia that cost $75 weekly. Summer camps for both kids. Science for Sophia. Baseball for Ethan, totaling nearly $3,000. The numbers blur as a wave of nausea hits me. I canceled my trip to the Oregon coast last spring when Damon called about another medical emergency. 3 days off work, non-refundable cabin rental lost. The urgent hospital bills he mentioned never appeared in my mailbox for payment as promised. Where did that money go? This isn't about one Christmas dinner. This is about years of taking advantage of my generosity, years of family emergencies that somehow always required my checkbook to solve. The dashboard clock reads 7:43 p.m. I should be driving home, licking my wounds in private. Instead, I turn off the engine and walk back to the house, my footsteps crunching on frozen gravel. This time, I don't knock. When I push open the door, the tableau before me feels staged. Damon lounges on the couch, feet propped on the coffee table, scrolling through his phone. Mom and Dad stand awkwardly in the kitchen doorway, wine glasses in hand. 3 pairs of eyes swing toward me. What, no lock on the door for the uninvited? My voice sounds steadier than I feel. Mom steps forward, hand fluttering near her throat. Cassidy, honey, we thought you'd gone home. Why would you think that? Because you told me to leave? I look directly at Damon, who hasn't bothered to stand. Don't be dramatic, he says, barely glancing up from his screen. Nobody told you to leave. The kitchen smells of roast turkey and cranberry sauce. My stomach clenches at the thought of them sitting down to dinner without me, using the china I helped unwrap each Christmas since childhood. Someone with your fancy job doesn't need family like we do, Mom says, setting her wine down. You've got your new condo and your big city friends. You've been slacking off this year, Damon adds, finally looking up. We all noticed. Next to him, Maribel shifts uncomfortably on the sofa, eyes fixed on her lap. Unlike the others, she can't quite meet my gaze. Families help each other, Dad mumbles from his position by the kitchen door. Always been that way. The subtext hangs heavy in the air. Families help each other financially, and I haven't been helpful enough lately. So, because I bought myself a place to live after helping all of you for years, I'm not family anymore? I step further into the living room. Nobody's saying that, Mom interjects quickly. You literally said that on the porch 30 minutes ago. Damon sets his phone down with deliberate care. Look, we're just concerned about Mom and Dad. With property taxes going up and their fixed income, they might have to sell the house if things continue this way. The house they've lived in for 40 years. The threat lands exactly as intended. That's not what I meant, Mom protests. But her objection lacks conviction. They're not getting any younger. Damon's voice drops to something resembling concern. Would be a shame if they had to face their golden years alone. The pieces click into place with sickening clarity. This isn't about Christmas dinner or my absence from family gatherings. This is about money, it always has been. The invitation wasn't withdrawn because I'm distant. It was leveraged to ensure I keep funding their lives. I look around at the family photos lining the walls. In each one, I'm smiling, eager to please. The dutiful daughter, the responsible sister, the human ATM. Mom steps closer, her hand reaching for mine. We just miss how things used to be, when you were more involved. Involved with my wallet, you mean? The words come out sharper than I intended, but I don't take them back. That's unfair. Dad says, finally finding his voice. Is it? Damon, when was the last time you called me without asking for something? His silence is answer enough. Mom, when was the last time you invited me over when it wasn't to help with bills or housework? She blinks rapidly, looks away. I see. My voice doesn't shake anymore. So I'm family when you need something, but not family enough for Christmas dinner. You're twisting everything, Damon says, standing now. After everything we've done for you. What exactly have you done for me? The question hangs in the air. No one answers. I take a deep breath, straightening my shoulders. If I'm not family enough to be welcomed, I'm not family enough to pay your bills. The silence that follows is deafening. Mom's face crumples. Dad looks at the floor. Damon's eyes narrow dangerously. As I turn to leave, I wonder if I'm being too harsh by cutting financial ties completely. Would maintaining some support while establishing boundaries be wiser, or is a clean break the only way to break this cycle of exploitation? What would you do when the people who should love you unconditionally only value what you can give them? I close the door behind me without waiting for an answer. They've already given me theirs. I wake to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar curtains my own. Christmas morning in my condo feels wrong. The silence pressing against my ears like cotton. The perfectly decorated tree looms in the corner. A collection of wrapped presents beneath it with nowhere to go. My phone buzzes. Another text from Aunt Carol. Cassidy, why are you punishing your parents this way? Family should be together at Christmas. I stare at the message, my throat tightening. This makes 12 concerned relatives in 2 days. The family text chain Damon created deliberately excluding me has been busy. According to my cousin Jennifer, I've abandoned the family during the holidays because success has changed me. Setting the phone face down, I walk to the kitchen where I've spread my gifts across the counter. The antique fishing lure for Dad catches the morning light. Mom's hand-painted ornament sits in its velvet box. The gaming headset for Damon. Books, toys, and clothes for the kids. Evidence of months of thoughtful planning, now useless. My neighbor's Christmas music filters through the wall. The cheerful melody feels like sandpaper against my raw nerves. The doorbell rings. A holiday card waits in my mailbox. My niece's handwriting immediately recognizable. Inside, alongside crayon drawings of Christmas trees, I miss you, Aunt Cassidy. Why won't you come see us? Something shatters inside me. I sink to the floor, card clutched to my chest, finally allowing the tears I've been holding back for days. Night after night, I wake at 3 a.m., replaying the scene at my parents' door. Was I really distant? Self-centered? I flip through mental calendars, counting the weekends spent helping with household projects, the vacation days sacrificed for family emergencies, the extra projects I took on to cover Damon's financial crises. You've been distant, self-centered with your new life, Mom had said on the porch. But last spring, when Damon called about his son's medical bills, I canceled a weekend in Vancouver to take on a rush project. When their washing machine flooded the basement in August, I drove down immediately and paid for repairs. When property taxes came due in October, I handled everything. My spreadsheet grows longer each day as I document years of financial assistance, column after column of dates, amounts, and purposes. The mortgage payments when Damon was between jobs. Summer camps for the kids. Piano lessons. emergency dental work. The list stretches back 7 years, totaling over $35,000. The morning after Christmas, Rachel from work calls. My sister's coming to town New Year's Eve. Thought you might want to join us for dinner? I'm fine, really. I insist, the lie bitter on my tongue. I know you are, but nobody should spend the holidays alone. Her kindness nearly undoes me again. Thanks. I might take you up on that. Tuesday brings another unwelcome surprise. My bank manager calls. Miss Hartley, I wanted to alert you that someone attempted to access your accounts yesterday, claiming to be an authorized family member. My stomach drops. Was it my brother? I can't disclose that, but I wanted you to know we denied access. You might want to review your security settings. Later, I learned from my old high school friend who works at the bank that Damon has been spreading rumors about my mental health issues to explain why I'm withholding help from the family. The betrayal feels physical, like fingers squeezing my lungs. I add another column to my spreadsheet, consequences. 3 days after Christmas, my phone lights up with a text from Maribel. I'm sorry for what happened. I didn't agree with it. The kids miss you terribly. The first genuine connection I've felt in weeks brings tears to my eyes. I respond immediately. I miss them too. This isn't about them. I know, she writes back. It never was. The banging on my door Sunday morning startles me from sleep. Through the peephole, Damon's distorted face glares back. Against my better judgment, I open the door. He storms past me into the living room. What the hell do you think you're doing? I was sleeping. It's 7:30 on a Sunday. Stop playing innocent. You're turning the family against each other. I cross my arms. How exactly am I doing that from my condo, alone, with no contact? Maribel's acting weird. Mom's asking questions about money. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? By abandoning family? The accusation hangs between us. Something shifts inside me, a quiet click, like a lock releasing. What exactly have you done for me, Damon? Name one thing. His face flushes. We're your family. We've always been there for you. When? When have you been there for me? That's not... No, I really want to know. Because I can list hundreds of times I've been there for you. Thousands of dollars. Countless hours. You think you're so perfect. I think you should leave now, I say, my voice steadier than I expected. And please don't come back. His eyes widen. I've never spoken to him this way before. He steps toward me, but I don't flinch. You'll regret this, he warns. When Mom and Dad need help, don't expect me to pick up your slack. I hold the door open, my hand surprisingly steady. Goodbye, Damon. After he leaves, my neighbor Tom knocks softly. Everything okay? I heard shouting. When I explain what happened, he offers to help install a security camera that afternoon, just in case he comes back. These wireless ones are easy to set up. The simple act of kindness highlights what I've been missing: people who give without expecting payment. Rachel's New Year's dinner feels like stepping into another world, one where conversation flows without tension, where laughter comes easily, where no one tallies the cost of every interaction. You seem different tonight, Rachel says as we wash dishes afterward, more relaxed. I made some decisions, I tell her, about what I'm willing to accept from people. The next morning, I change my phone number, creating a clean break while maintaining one private line of communication with Maribel. I make an appointment with my financial advisor to restructure my savings toward my own future, not family emergencies. As January begins, my phone rings with an unknown number. I almost ignore it, but something makes me answer. Cassidy Hartley? This is Alan Prescott. I'm Maribel's lawyer. She asked me to contact you. I arrive at Hemlock Coffee 15 minutes early, clutching a leather portfolio containing months of bank statements, transaction records, and a spreadsheet tracking every dollar I've given my family. The cafe sits tucked between a used bookstore and a florist, far from my usual haunts where Damon might spot me. Cassidy? A man in his 50s approaches my corner table, hand extended. Alan Prescott, thank you for meeting me. His handshake is firm, his eyes kind but evaluating. I slide the portfolio across the table before he's fully settled. Every payment I've made to help Damon and Maribel. Mortgage assistance, medical bills, summer camps, piano lessons, dates, amounts, and what each was supposedly for. My voice remains steady, professional. $11,437 in the past 14 months alone. Alan opens the portfolio, scanning the meticulous records I've kept since Christmas. Very thorough. I'm a visual designer. Details matter. I wrap my hands around my coffee mug, seeking warmth. What did Maribel discover? Alan removes his glasses, pinching the bridge of his nose. Damon has maintained a separate checking account for years. Maribel found statements while searching for tax documents. He places a folder beside mine. With your permission, she wanted me to share these with you. Inside are bank statements for an account I've never seen. My name appears repeatedly in the deposit column. He diverted the money, I whisper, the floor seeming to tilt beneath me. Not all of it, Alan clarifies, pointing to specific transactions. The mortgage payments went through, but that emergency root canal you covered, hotel charges that same weekend. The children's summer camp tuition? Half went to online gambling sites. My throat tightens as I trace my finger down the list of transactions. The money I sent for Ella's piano recital dress. Louis Vuitton purchase, same day. The room goes silent as I process this betrayal within the betrayal. Not just using me as their personal ATM, but lying about where the money went. Maribel wanted you to know she had no idea. Alan continues gently. She's filing for legal separation. Her priority now is protecting herself and the children. I nod, unable to speak for a moment. Is she safe? She is, and she's grateful for your past support, even if it didn't always reach its intended purpose. 3 days later, my phone rings during a client call. The bank's fraud department. Miss Hartley, someone attempted to access your accounts, claiming to be an authorized family member. We've blocked the attempt, but wanted to verify you haven't granted access to anyone recently. My stomach lurches. Who was it? Damon Hartley. He insisted you'd authorized him years ago. After completing the fraud report, I sit at my kitchen counter, hands trembling with rage rather than fear. Damon didn't just reject me from our family Christmas. He's actively trying to steal from me now. The next morning, I walk into First State Bank, shoulders back, spine straight. I'd like to file a formal complaint regarding attempted account fraud. I tell the manager, sliding the paperwork across her desk, and I need to verify all my accounts have enhanced security protocols. Her eyes widen slightly as she reviews the details. Of course, Miss Hartley, we take these matters very seriously. She hesitates. Your brother has several accounts with us as well. I'm aware, I say simply. By the time I leave, a formal investigation has begun. The fraud report will create a permanent record of Damon's actions, consequences he never expected to face. When Alan asked if I wanted to pursue legal action against Damon for misusing funds I'd provided, I hesitated. Would seeking justice through the courts bring closure, or would supporting Maribel and the children in their fresh start be the better path forward? 2 weeks later, Alan calls. I've documented everything without charging fees. This pattern of financial abuse is clear enough that you have options if you want to pursue them. Thank you, I say, genuinely moved by his support. Has Maribel shared anything else? She's provided copies of transfers showing exactly where your money went. His voice softens. She feels terrible about what happened at Christmas. That evening, Rachel calls. The cabin's yours whenever you need it. She offers after I explain the situation. Totally private. No way for Damon to know you're meeting Maribel there. I'm struck by the generosity of these connections. People helping without expecting anything in return. The opposite of my family's transactional love. When Maribel and I finally meet at Rachel's cabin, we talk for hours. We form an unexpected alliance. Our shared goal simple but powerful. Protecting her children from the pattern of manipulation that's defined our family for years. The next afternoon, my phone rings with my parents' number for the first time since Christmas. My mother's voice sounds smaller, less certain. Cassidy, honey, we miss you. Do you? I ask, keeping my tone neutral. Family should stick together through difficult times, she continues, the familiar guilt trip falling flat. Like Christmas? I ask. A pause. Damon explained you refused to help with some essential bills. We were hurt. That's interesting, I say, my voice steady, because I know about Damon's separate accounts now, the ones where my help actually went. The silence on the other end stretches long enough that I check if the call has dropped. Finally, my father speaks. What separate accounts? A week later, the doorbell rings at exactly 6, startling me from my laptop where I've been reviewing spreadsheets all day. Through the peephole, I see 3 familiar figures, Mom, Dad, and Damon, standing in the hallway outside my condo. Mom cradles a casserole dish while Dad awkwardly juggles a small gift bag. Damon's empty hands are shoved deep in his pockets. I consider not answering, but curiosity wins. What desperate play is this? Surprise. Mom says when I open the door, her smile stretched too wide. We brought dinner. Dad steps forward, rehearsed sincerity painting his features. Family should stick together through thick and thin. That's what your grandfather always said. I step aside to let them in, noting how they immediately claim my space. Mom heading straight to the kitchen, Dad settling into my reading chair, Damon prowling the perimeter of my living room. Eyes assessing everything. We miss you, sweetheart. Mom calls from the kitchen where she's already opening cabinets. The family hasn't been the same without you. We depend on each other, Dad adds, nodding solemnly. Always have. I stand with my arms crossed, watching this performance unfold. What's this really about? Damon stops his circling and faces me. I lost my job last week. There it is. The company's downsizing, he continues, voice dropping to what he probably thinks sounds humble. I need help getting through this rough patch. Again, he attempts a self-deprecating laugh that falls flat in the stillness of my living room. Mom jumps in. It's temporary, just until he gets back on his feet. And Maribel isn't helping matters, Dad adds. Damon's face darkens. She's been acting crazy, saying things that aren't true, making up stories about money and where it goes. He takes a step toward me. You know how she gets, always dramatizing everything. She's unstable, Mom whispers, as though Maribel might somehow hear her from states away, not thinking clearly. I walk to my desk without responding and pull out a leather portfolio. For a moment, they all freeze, hopeful expressions flickering across their faces as they anticipate a checkbook. I've been expecting this visit, I say, opening the portfolio on my coffee table. So I prepared something for you. I spread out a series of printed sheets, my meticulous documentation of every dollar provided over the years. Names, dates, amounts, and purposes, all color-coded and organized chronologically. $35,472, I say, tapping the bottom figure. That's how much I've given this family in the past 3 years alone. Their faces remain blank, uncomprehending. And this? I continue, pulling out bank statements Maribel shared, shows hotel charges in Portland on days you claim to be at business conferences in Seattle. I place them beside my spreadsheet. Interesting timing, especially since those charges align perfectly with money transfers I made for your mortgage. Dad stares at his shoes. Mom clutches the edge of her cardigan. Damon's face flushes deep crimson. Where's Maribel? Cut her rash, he demands, voice rising. What have you been telling her? I've told her nothing but truth, I answer calmly. I've helped her secure an apartment in another state. She and the kids left yesterday. Mom gasps. Dad's head snaps up. You had no right, Damon hisses. I had every right to help them start over. And I've established education funds for the children that you cannot access. My financial support will go directly to them now, not through you. I walk to my bookshelf where family photos once dominated the display. Now they showcase travel souvenirs, art from my students, and snapshots with friends who value me beyond my wallet. The transformation isn't lost on my parents, who exchange uneasy glances. From my desk drawer, I withdraw an envelope and hand it to my father. This is a letter stating I'll continue covering your property taxes directly, but will provide no further financial support to Damon. Damon lunges for the letter, but Dad pulls it away, scanning the contents with widening eyes. You can't do this. Damon sputters, rage giving way to panic. I'll pay back everything, I swear. Just help one more time. How can you do this to your brother? Mom cries. To your family? I feel something shift inside me. Not anger breaking free, but rather clarity solidifying into certainty. The real question is, how could you do this to me? For years, I've been your ATM, not your daughter. Their silence confirms everything. I walk to my front door and hold it open. I think our Christmas tradition of me not being welcome works both ways now. Mom starts toward me, but Dad catches her elbow, shaking his head slightly. Damon remains rooted in place, his face cycling through rage, disbelief, and finally, desperation. As they shuffle toward the door, I reach behind my entry table and withdraw a small wrapped package, the last gift I bought before Christmas. I hand it to Damon. For you. His fingers tremble slightly as he tears away the paper, revealing a framed photograph of his children laughing on a playground. Attached to the glass is a small handwritten note. They deserve better. Be better. He stares at it, mouth working soundlessly, before Dad guides him through the doorway. After they leave, I stand alone in my quiet condo, wondering if Damon realizes the legal trouble awaiting him. The loan applications where he falsified information using my name as guarantor without my knowledge are already under review. My phone buzzes with a text. It's from Maribel, a photo of the children exploring their new apartment, faces bright with excitement. The caption reads simply, "Thank you for helping us start over." I save the image, finally understanding the difference between being used and being needed. 3 months have passed since that frigid December evening. My condo no longer feels like just a place I sleep between helping everyone else. I've transformed the second bedroom into a proper home office, with dual monitors and an ergonomic chair that supports my back during long design sessions. My business cards, newly printed, read, Cassidy Hartley Design Studio instead of just my name. The wall calendar above my desk is color-coded with boundaries I never dared establish. Before green blocks for client work, blue for personal time, yellow for my volunteer work teaching graphic design at the youth center downtown. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I help teenagers discover how art can become a career. Their thank you notes form a collage on my bulletin board, each one reminding me that generosity works best with clear parameters. "You have a real talent for this," said Jamal last week, a 16-year-old whose logo design showed remarkable promise. "Nobody ever showed me I could make money doing what I love." I think of those words when my mother calls on a Wednesday evening as I'm preparing dinner. "Cassidy, thank God you answered," she says, her voice wavering. "The upstairs bathroom pipe burst. Water everywhere. Your father tried fixing it himself, but now it's worse." The familiar dance begins her need, my response. "But something's different now." "That sounds stressful," I say, keeping my tone even. "I know a reliable plumber in your area. I can call him right now and arrange payment directly." Silence hangs between us. I can almost see her mouth opening and closing. "But wouldn't it be easier to just send the money?" she finally asks. "No, Mom. I'm happy to help, but this way works better for me." Another long pause. "I suppose that would be fine," she concedes, the surprise evident in her voice. When we hang up, there's no knot in my stomach, no racing heart. Just the quiet certainty that I've done exactly what I needed to do. Friday evening, I host a small dinner. Rachel arrives first with a bottle of wine, followed by Tom from next door and 2 women from my volunteer program. The conversation flows easily around my dining table, no eggshells to tread on, no unspoken expectations hovering in the air. Rachel raises her glass midway through the meal. "To found family," she says. "The people who choose to be in your life and support you without conditions." We clink glasses, and she leans closer. "You know what I've noticed? You shine brighter now that you've stopped dimming your light for others." I feel the truth of her words settle into my bones. Later that week, I confirm my summer plans to visit Maribel and the children in their new home 3 states away. The education trust I established for my niece and nephew is finally complete, a structure that ensures the money goes directly to their schooling, regardless of Damon's financial situation. Our monthly video calls have become something I look forward to. Lily shows me her science projects, and Noah performs little songs he's learned in kindergarten. Without Damon looming in the background, their voices carry a lightness I hadn't noticed before. Tonight, I open the spreadsheet I've maintained for years. Family Financial Support stares back at me from the title bar. I add one final entry, the plumber's bill, then save the file under a new name. Lessons learned. As I box up the Christmas gifts I'd never given my family, saving only those for my niece and nephew, I wonder, is there a point where maintaining contact with toxic family members becomes self-destruction? Or is there always value in leaving the door open just a crack? What would you have done in my shoes?